All right, today we are diving deep into the history of Mesopotamia, a place that's often called, and for very good reason, the cradle of civilization. So, where did modern life actually begin? I mean, that's a massive question, right? But if you had to point to just one place on the map where so many of the foundational ideas of our world just sparked into life, well, our journey would have to start right here. And that place is a region the ancient Greeks called Mesopotamia. The name itself is a clue. It literally means the land between the rivers. And we're talking about that incredibly fertile crescent tucked right between the Tigris and Euphrates, which, is the heart of modern-day Iraq. This is the spot where agriculture really took off, and hot on its heels came the world's first great civilizations. Okay, so who were the very first of these great civilizations? That would be the Sumerians. They pop up on the scene around 4000 BCE down in southern Mesopotamia. And let me tell you, these weren't just a bunch of early settlers. No, they were true innovators, the ones who basically laid the groundwork for, well, everything that came after. I mean, think about this for a second. Around 3500 BCE, the Sumerians come up with the wheel. And it wasn't just about carving a round piece of wood. The real genius, the true leap, was combining that wheel with a fixed axle. All of a sudden, you could move ridiculously heavy loads with an ease that was unimaginable before. This changed everything, from how you made pottery to how you farmed, to how you moved things around, and even how you fought wars. And they were just getting started. They didn't stop there. The Sumerians were also, believe it or not, the world's first great urban planners. They basically invented the whole concept of the city. And right at the heart of their sprawling urban centers, places like Uruk and stood these massive stepped pyramids called ziggurats. Now, these weren't just cool-looking buildings. They were the absolute core of their world. Part temple, part city hall, part warehouse, the whole shebang. And then we get to what might be their most profound invention of all, a way to actually record their world. We're talking about cuneiform, one of the first ever systems of writing. Just imagine, using these little wedge-shaped marks pressed into wet clay, the Sumerians started recording, well, everything. Laws, business deals, epic poems, you name it. This was a complete game changer. It literally created a brand new, incredibly powerful class of people, the scribes, the ones who could read, write, and therefore control information. So, what's really fascinating is the language situation going on at the time. Down in the south, you have the Sumerians speaking Sumerian, which is a total mystery language. It's what we call a language isolate, meaning it has zero known relatives, ancient or modern. But then you go north and people are speaking Akkadian, and that's a Semitic language, so it's in the same family as modern Arabic and Hebrew. So you have these two totally different cultures and languages rubbing up against each other. And as you can probably guess, this is going to set the stage for a major, major shift in power. Right, so this whole mix of cultures and languages, it's the perfect recipe for a dramatic change. For centuries, Mesopotamia had just been this patchwork of different city-states, each one doing its own thing. But that was all about to end. A new power was rising in the north, and with it came a brand new idea. The world's first concept of an empire. And the man behind all of this, his name was Sargon of Akkad. Around 2350 BCE, this guy rises up from the Akkadian-speaking north and just starts conquering. He creates the first true dynastic empire the world had ever seen. We're talking about a vast territory, all ruled by a single family. It's no wonder we call him Sargon the Great. And this really shows you the sheer scale of what he pulled off. Sargon's Akkadian empire didn't just nibble at the edges. It conquered and unified the entire region. He brought the Akkadian north and the Sumerian south all under one single ruler. And over time, yeah, the Akkadian language became the main one, but, and this is important, the Sumerian culture was deeply respected. It was actually woven right into the fabric of this new empire. Okay, so after the Akkadian empire, history does what it does. Other powers rise, others fall. But the next really big player to leave a massive mark on history was the Babylonian Empire. Their capital was the magnificent city of Babylon. And their most famous ruler? Well, he gave the world another idea that would change everything: a universal code of law. And you've probably heard the most famous line from this code, the Code of Hammurabi. Yeah, the whole an eye for an eye thing. It sounds pretty harsh to us today, for sure, but you have to realize what a huge leap forward this was. It was the birth of standardized, proportional justice. Justice that wasn't based on some king's mood that day, but was administered by the state itself. You really can't overstate how important this code was. It basically boils down to three huge things. One, it was written down. It was literally carved onto giant stone pillars for everybody to see. Justice was no longer a secret. Two, it created a single standard of law that applied across the entire empire, same rules for everyone. And three, it was kind of like a proto-constitution. It ended up influencing how people thought about law for thousands of years to come. So, Hammurabi's empire was a massive chapter in this story. But Mesopotamia's history kept rolling on for centuries. After the Babylonians, you had the rise of the fierce Assyrian Empire, who dominated the whole region with their military power. Then they were followed by the Neo-Babylonians, led by famous rulers like Nebuchadnezzar II, who rebuilt Babylon into one of the wonders of the ancient world. But this long era of Mesopotamian power finally came to an end in 539 BCE, when a new superpower, the Persians, led by Cyrus the Great, swept in and conquered the entire region. So, okay, after thousands of years of all this innovation, all these empires, what's the takeaway? Why do we still call this place the cradle of civilization? Well, it's pretty simple, really. So many of the fundamental ideas that define our world today were born right there, in that land between the rivers. Let's just quickly run through these world-changing gifts again. We're talking about the wheel, that simple, powerful piece of tech, the very concept of living together in cities, the power of having a system for writing things down, the political idea of an empire, and, of course, the game-changing principle of a written public code of law. I mean, these are literally the building blocks of modern life, and they were all pioneered in Mesopotamia. So, as you go about the rest of your day, just think about it for a second. Are you living in a city? Do you follow written laws? Did you use anything today that relies on a wheel? The legacy of Mesopotamia, it's not just stuck in some dusty history book. It's literally all around us every single day. So I'll leave you with this question. Which one of these foundational ideas do you think still shapes your world the most?